The reason I believe people have such poor results with dermatologists is because quite often the dermatologist is trying to treat the symptom and not the root cause of acne. As with my own experience of using skin creams, cleansers and antibiotics, they're not treating the cause, only the symptoms. Welcome to this episode of the Adult Acne Podcast. In this episode, I'll be answering your questions on acne. Thanks again for your questions, and if you have a question, please feel free to send it to me via social media. All the links are shown in the show notes. So the first question is, has anyone tried celery juice for severe acne and spots? Well, firstly, thank you for your question. Now, before I answer the question, I want to point out that it's very rare that there is ever any one thing that will get rid of your acne. Acne is usually caused by a number of factors which differ from person to person, and it's important to find out what those factors are so that you can address them. The factors that cause acne, if not checked, may and probably will go on to cause a much more serious, possibly life-threatening health problem. Now, getting back to your question, I can only guess the reason you're asking or suggesting whether celery juice will help is because of its potential to detoxify. Now, please let me know if I've assumed incorrectly. It's fair to say that in many acne cases, toxins do play a role. So using procedures to help with detoxification. Now, the ones that I tend to use are things like liver gallbladder cleanses, heavy metal detoxes, balancing your gut microbiome, infrared saunas, and also ensuring that you have all the necessary nutrients in your diet to aid detoxification are important. I do explain how to do these things in my book in a comprehensive but step-by-step way. So I hope that's helpful and I hope that's answered your question. The second question is, has anyone used Spironolactone and it cleared their acne? The question continues, I never had acne for the first 27 years of life, and then a year ago I started getting acne and it's never gone away, except it's gotten worse and worse. The last couple of months it's gotten so bad. I also have a lot of scarring. I've seen a dermatologist and she was not helpful at all. So I went to my OBGYN and she said I have hormonal acne and prescribed Spiro. Today's my first day taking it, just trying to see if it helped anyone else. Thank you. So firstly, thank you for your question. Now, sadly, it's a similar experience shared with me by my clients after working with a dermatologist. The reason I believe people have such poor results with dermatologists is because quite often the dermatologist is trying to treat the symptom and not the root cause of acne. As with my own experience of using skin creams, cleansers and antibiotics, they're not treating the cause, only the symptoms. Now, I do have to preface what I'm about to say next because I'm not medically trained and I do not advise people on pharmaceuticals and would suggest you always talk to your doctor before stopping or changing your medication. What I would like to know is what tests your OBGYN ran to determine that you have hormonal acne. Now, let's assume for one moment your acne is caused by an imbalance in hormones, and it could be higher estrogen, low progesterone, or it could be both, or it could even be higher testosterone. My next question would be, well, why are they out of balance? What's caused the hormonal imbalance? Using a spironolactone may artificially rebalance your hormones, but what it won't do is address the underlying cause of the imbalance. If the underlying cause of your acne is not addressed, it's possible that it could cause a much more serious health condition down the line. And then what happens when you stop taking spironolactone? So let's say spironolactone does a great job at balancing your hormones and gets rid of your acne. How long do you want to take it for? It's pretty unlikely that if your spironolactone does help balance your hormones, that when you stop taking it, your hormones will just naturally balance out on their own when you stop. The other thing to consider that I hope your OBGYN discussed with you are the potential known and published side effects of spironolactone, such as breast tenderness and or breast enlargement, painful and or irregular periods, as well as vaginal bleeding after menopause, hair loss, sensitivity to UV rays from the sun and other light sources, nausea, vomiting, and also drowsiness. Laboratory tests can be very useful to uncover the causes of acne, I often use food sensitivity testing, gut microbiome testing, and heavy metal toxicity tests to help establish the causes of someone's acne. Once I establish the causes of someone's acne, it's then important to use natural approaches to get the body back to balance, using things like nutrition, stress reduction, detoxification protocols, and microbiome balancing. Health and disease cannot live in the same body, so I always aim to maximize the health of the person rather than treat the condition they have. So hopefully that helps, and I hope that I've answered your question. The next question is, have you tried Maca Root to help acne? I certainly haven't used it with clients, so I've got no experience with clients myself, but I know Maca is believed to, or at least by some, to alleviate menopausal symptoms in women, and is suggested to improve libido as well. Now, Maca has also been suggested to help balance female hormones, along with DIM, zinc, calcium glucarate, and also ashwagandha. What I would add to that is that, it's important to get the basics of health right first. Otherwise, using supplementation to balance hormones will be an ineffective waste of money. Ensuring that you're eating right, drinking right, sleeping right, moving right, resting adequately, de-stressing, and then you'll be able to help balance your hormones via the use of supplementation. Without having the basics, the foundations in place, you're really going to be wasting your money on any supplement that may well work once you have got all the foundations in place first. So that's really, really important. Holly was a 28-year-old personal trainer suffering from acne when she first came to see me. Holly had terrible breakouts and felt embarrassed and like a fraud when training her clients, as she didn't think she was the perfect example of what it meant to be healthy. Even though she was a personal trainer and was trained in nutrition, she didn't realize the food that she ate caused her acne and affected her overall health. Following a few lab tests, it was discovered that Holly had fungal and parasite infections, as well as food sensitivities to gluten, egg, and soy. Holly changed her diet as advised, following a metabolic typing diet, eliminating sensitive foods, and following a plan to reduce her fungal and parasite infections and to help heal her gut. The program worked to treat for Holly, and she was completely spot-free relatively quickly once the program was in full flow. She now has much more confidence, especially at work, enjoys her social life, and no longer has to wear makeup to go out of the house, which she really loves. If you would like to achieve the same kind of result as Holly, you can now follow a comprehensive step-by-step guide in my book, Eliminating Adult Acne for Good, available now from all major online bookstores and via my website at www.bodycheck.co.uk/books. Okay, so for the next question. How long does it take Doxycycline to work for hormonal cystic acne on the chin? I've been on it about 3 weeks and still consistently have 3 to 4 cysts on my chin at a time, and as soon as one goes down, another pops up. Just wondering how long it will take. Again, thanks for your question. Now, you may be aware of my own experience of taking antibiotics for 18 years without success. Antibiotics can be effective in the short term, but long-term use can be extremely detrimental to your overall health. If the antibiotics are effective at clearing your acne, you must stop taking them long-term because it's not safe to do so. And in almost all cases, the acne will bounce back once they're stopped. If antibiotics are used long-term, as well as, often not being effective, they often make the acne worse, and they can cause antibiotic resistance and damage to the gut microbiome. Now, antibiotic resistance can cost you your life if antibiotics don't work when you need them to keep you alive, if, for instance, you were ever in a serious accident or that you needed surgery. As well as killing the Cutibacterium acnes, which is the bacteria that is believed to cause acne, antibiotics also kill the commensal or beneficial bacteria that arguably play the most important role in our overall health. Antibiotics leave the door wide open to pathogenic bacteria and fungi, which may also cause acne and many other diseases. Long-term use of antibiotics in acne treatment is also associated with an increase in upper respiratory infections and skin bacteria, and has been shown to affect blood sugar levels and cause an increase in body fat levels as well. We need to be aware of the potential consequences when we use antibiotics and carefully weigh the risks and the benefits. I'm not sure why you were prescribed an antibiotic for hormone imbalance. That doesn't quite seem logical to me. There might well be a logical reason, but I can't see one. So that might be an important question for you to ask your doctor. I'm not in any way giving you medical advice or suggesting you should stop taking your antibiotics, but I found the solutions to my own acne story after I came off antibiotics, found the causes of my acne. I treated them naturally with nutrition, lifestyle, and detoxification protocols. So hopefully that's answered your question. Feel free to send in another one if I didn't quite cover the whole answer. So the final question for today is there a comprehensive list of inflammatory acne causing foods? Once again, thank you for your question. And the answer is yes and no. Yes, as in there are many foods shown by scientific research to cause acne, in particular the ones that stimulate the mammalian target of rapamycin, or mTOR as it's known. These include high glycemic foods, dairy, and in particular foods containing glucose and high amounts of the amino acids leucine, as well as isoleucine and also valine. Palmitate, a saturated fatty acid, has also been shown to stimulate mTOR, and trans fats have a similar structure to palmitate, so are believed to stimulate mTOR as well. Oleic acid, which can be found in high levels in canola oil, pecan oil, peanut oil, macadamia oil, sunflower oil, and sesame oil, should all be avoided. In addition to avoiding these foods, you also need to be aware that we are highly individual, and that what is one man's food is another man's poison, as the saying goes. Now, something I consider important is to find out what foods that you in particular are sensitive to. These are the foods that will create an immune response within you and therefore inflammation in the body. There is something called a pulse test that I use with clients if they can't afford a lab test. So I normally use a quite comprehensive blood test to test my clients for food sensitivities. Now, to do a pulse test, what you would do is you would sit still for 5 minutes, and then at the end of the 5 minutes, you would take your pulse for 1 minute. Now, what I find useful is using an oximeter, because a lot of people find it difficult to take their own pulse. They might not quite get their radial pulse clearly, etc. So you can get an oximeter, which you can just pop on the end of your finger, and that will take your pulse for you. Once you have your baseline pulse, you then pop one food item under your tongue to test, and you don't chew it and you don't swallow it. Keep it under the tongue for 1 minute, and then you just record your pulse again. Now, if your pulse has risen or fallen by 4 beats per minute or more, it suggests that you have a sensitivity to that food and it's creating inflammation in your body. Once you're finished, you spit out the food that you were testing, you wash your mouth with clean water, and then wait until your pulse has returned to the previous baseline figure before testing another food. You can also do the same procedure for all the supplements that you are taking, one at a time, of course. The other important aspect I focus on is finding out someone's metabolic type. So this is a process of individualizing someone's dietary needs based on their specific genetics and environment. As I mentioned previously, we're all very different, and therefore we all require slightly different nutrients to optimize our health and therefore our skin. Now, just one more thing, from a psychological perspective, it's always important if you're removing a food from your diet to replace it with something else. If all you focus on is what you can't have instead of what you can have instead, it makes it more challenging to carry out. So hopefully that's answered your question. Big thanks to all of you that sent your questions in. That's all for today's episode, but don't forget to send me your acne questions and make sure to join me next time for more great information on how to eliminate your adult acne on the Adult Acne Podcast. And don't forget, make sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.